So great to have you on board today, Steve. So you're part of obviously the TEN13 team, and we thought we'd start with one of our own internal resources who's managed their own business through, I guess, what we call generally turbulent times. And so having managed SENET and Pipe Networks through IPO and then through successful acquisition, we thought it'd be great to touch base with you and just get your thoughts on a few key questions during I guess what we're calling a little bit of a wartime, and I guess advice to CEOs that are running their own companies or founders that are running their companies at this time. So the first question that we had was what do you know now that you wish you had known during times or turbulent times? So 2000, 2008, when you're running your own business, what feedback would you give on that?
Thanks, Stu. Yeah, look, feels weird doing this over video conference. It's sort of a lot easier face to face. But anyway, look, it wasn't just 2008. So before, in the first business, SENET, I mean, we had an instance where Telstra mistakenly just almost destroyed our business through one programming error. And then, we had, for anyone sort of in business back then, we had the post-Olympic Games, post-GST implementation, just shock. That was actually quite bad. That was the first real downturn, we'd experienced. I'd sold the business before the dot-com one. And then we started Pipe Networks after that, and then had a pretty good run, to be honest, until the GFC. So the one thing I would say is that the sun will always come up tomorrow. Look, it's bad. When the walls are falling in around you, and it feels like the walls are falling out, it's really bad. The sun will come up tomorrow because the plan that got you in the situation you are now hasn't worked. It means you need another plan. So don't keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. If things aren't working, change, seek advice. There's a lot more mentoring, and you can openly get mentors and ask advice nowadays. Back when I started in business, it was seen as a probably sign of weakness in some respects. So ask, get lots of advice. I'm just witnessing now on LinkedIn and Facebook and God knows where else, the amount of professionals out there giving advice. Read that, look at it. There's people out there who help people out of all sorts of situations. So a bunch of things, I suppose. But they're tough. It's never that tough. The sun does come up tomorrow. Battle through it. Use all the tools in the toolbox and identify the good professionals that can give you access to those tools. Lawyers, accountants, turnaround guys, people like that.
Yeah, I think that's really prudent. And one of the things that I thought was pretty interesting that you made a comment the other day around you're not Robinson Crusoe, and you're not alone in this. I think everyone's feeling a bit of pain right now across all industries, whether you're a small business all the way up to corporates and even government. So, I think that was a really interesting comment because it's like it can feel a bit like that, in general.
And saying you're not alone, but it's also not an excuse to slacken off. I mean, especially to have investors. My God, if you've got staff or a family, no one expects you to slacken off. You're in business. If you're a founder and you want to be an entrepreneur, it means you can't slacken off. It means that the buck does stop with you. Every day, every other day is harder. The only easy day was yesterday, as they say in some parts of the military. Got to get on with it, shoulder it up. What makes it makes the journey so worthwhile. So the bad times are one bookend, and the good times are the other bookend. You need them both.
Yeah, 100%. So the next question was around, so how do you keep morale high during these sort of times? Keep everyone working at a solid tempo. Obviously, there's an added change even now that's pretty much everyone is working remote, which not everyone has experience in this. So what would be your thoughts or advice on keeping everyone connected and moving forward positively?
I think in general, communication is pretty important. I mean, my first job was as a regular soldier, and you didn't have a sense of humor in that job, you'd go mad pretty fast because, for as much as I really enjoyed the army and I want to be recognised as an ex-soldier, they were one of the most professional organisations to stuff you around all the time they possibly could. So, the level of frustration in that job was immense. So you needed a sense of humour. It goes back to my other comment is, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. Take it in stride, seek help. So in general, when it comes with staff, it's communication. Things might be going wrong, but if things are going wrong and staff are also confused, for example, that's not helpful at all. And plus, we've got smart people in this country, and you've probably got smart people in your companies. So the more you share, the more they can probably help. So communication is what I'd recommend. And once again, there's a whole bunch of resources out there. This is a bit new for people who know me. They know I don't like work from home, so this has been a bit tough for me to swallow as well. So, but there's a bunch of tools. The communication tools are good. There's lots of advice out there. Once again, on LinkedIn and Facebook, everyone's got some good advice. It won't all be pertinent to your situation, but some of it will be. So just to read a fair bit of it and see what works for you.
Yeah, I think you had a good example the other day of transparency and how you use that when you're at Pipe Networks. And so maybe you can give a little bit of like how that works about being transparent during these kind of times to your stakeholders, and that whether those are customers, investors, your own staff.
Yeah, in general, in more recent times, I suppose, I rail against. We're an investment company, so we invest in teams and trying to do really cool, funky things. And what none of us at this company like is when the people we invest in then stop talking to us until they need more money. So there's investees, there's portfolios out there we call them, we say that they treat us like an ATM machine. We only see them when we want cash, which is rude. I mean, we've got expertise here. We actually invest in you because we think we can bring more than money. And so we can help out. So for you to keep us in the dark, because bad news hidden never ever gets any better, we just can't help you. So, and more importantly, how do we feel? Like the only time we see you is when you actually need a cash injection. Thanks for that. You're not going to be talking about Christmas card. Let's put it that way, right? Specifically on openness, I had a situation here, and this was this is like 12 years ago now. So the memory might I might be embellishing some things. I'm not too sure, but it was at the height of the GFC. We're at Pipe Networks. We started building this submarine cable between Sydney and Guam, and my co-founder Bevan had an idea. I suppose our problem was the fact that no one believed we were going to build the submarine cable. So we had to convince them that we were, and we could do all the stock market releases and all the various outbound communications, stating we were going to build it, and it didn't really matter. So what he did was he ran a daily blog and even put a webcam into the various parts of the factory and elements of the company who were actually building this cable, so everyone could see that we're actually doing it day by day. And that, well, the board, I think he was the only one who wanted to do that, but he's, it was a plan, and we needed a different plan. So it was worth trying, and definitely it was part of the route out of that, along with finding a really good sort of merchant banker to assist us through the process. So can you be too transparent? Probably, but you should at least be transparent to a large degree.
Yeah, no, that's great. And when we're talking about, there's probably some tough decisions that are going to be made across businesses during these times. So what would be your take on how to extend your runway? What would you be looking at first?
What we're looking at first. Well, that's tough. You'd have to know a lot more about the business. In general, I've advocated for tech startups for many years now, because I say that the wonderful thing about a tech startup is the feedstock for these organizations. It's not coal or iron ore or anything like that, but it's people, young, smart, technically competent people. The downside of that in a downturn is the fact that the way you control that cost is with people. So you have to look at how you can maybe make your workforce more flexible during these times. That's the polite version. The impolite version is you need to look at what levers you've got at law in order to actually reduce the size of your workforce. Because most likely that's your biggest expense. The best way you can do it would be through sales. And I appreciate that's probably a bit tough for everybody at the moment. So, definitely, sales is the preferred method. Sales fixes everything. Revenues are what we call a high quality problem. Let's have more high quality problems. Otherwise, mostly in this space, you look at staff. The other expense that drives me crazy with these tech startups, I'll talk to all you people with tech startups, is AWS. My God, that's expensive. To me, it's like lazy, inefficient computer storage. I know it's more than that, and you'll all rag on me for saying that, but the level of money that gets paid for what we used to do for a lot less is at times staggering. So I always think, I look at a lot of these P&Ls and a lot of the cash flows and other bits and pieces and startups and think, my God, there's just inefficient money being spent here. So look, it's in there. And I've been thinking this for a while, and I couldn't put it in words, and I saw it on someone's LinkedIn this morning. I can't remember, but it's now we have to go from being founders to running businesses. You're no longer entrepreneurs. You now got to run a business. You're in the boring, grinding part of keeping something alive. So look at all your costs. Look at all your contracts. Look at everything you can in order to make it out the other side of this thing and power through.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And one of the queries that we had is, if you are going through sort of a cost-cutting exercise, is there anything that you think you would protect or wouldn't cut?
Okay, so if there anything in a cost-cutting exercise, is there anything that I wouldn't cut? No, everything has to be on the table, you know. So, you know, I can't think of a single thing, Stuart. I think everything's on the table.
I feel like you need to analyze the whole stack. But that's
well,
okay.
But when it comes to any cost, you look at the entire thing. You've hopefully got some sort of formulate approach to understanding your expenses. Or you'd run a profit and loss or some sort of accounting software. Look at where your dollars go. Look, ways that you can. There's surprisingly interesting ways that you can extend runway out there. And I was reminded by a lawyer today that I'm not sure I can say this legally, but if you go to the ATO website, you can actually do ATO payment plans. The ATO is a reasonably flexible creditor, to be honest. You know, I'm not legally allowed to do is to tell them when they can't pay their tax bill. That would be illegal. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying go to the ATO website and search for payment plans. You might be really refreshed with what you find. You might be really refreshed with how flexible they are. So that's one that you know, a lot of people don't even contemplate or don't understand or don't know. We going, are we?
I said, not advocating for that, but we should check it out.
No. Well, I was talking to a lawyer chap. We're doing some more seminars, and I was talking to another lawyer chap, and I mentioned that. So I was going to do one on ATO payment plans. He goes, "Oh, you should look at the 1980s Tax Offences Act." I'm like, "Why?" Well, I spoke to you first. I said, "You can't do that," but I said, "Well, I'll just point them at the website. Just go look at the ATO website."
The ATO website.
They are actually reasonably. And the whole idea is to go to the ATO and say, "Look, I'm going to have trouble paying this. What can you do?" They'll offer you a payment plan. It's an installment plan, essentially. So you don't not owe it. You've got to pay it. And you know, that's going to feature in your calculation for solvency and other bits and pieces like that. So, you know, when you're out there looking for advice, and actually Ernst & Young next week, and you'll probably find a bunch of these online, have a seminar on a whole series of things, including Safe Harbour, which is, you know, one of the really good things Malcolm Turnbull did in getting Australian corporate regulations a bit more like US with respect to Chapter 11 and bankruptcy, which, you know, it's a really good process to recycle experience and organisations through a downturn. So take a good look at things like that, let's say. But once again, there's a bunch of professionals right now on LinkedIn everywhere offering bloody good advice for free. But, you know, it's intro advice, but it's going to give you the starting point, and it's going to be those entry-level tools for you to help manage your way through this.
100%. And probably last question is, if you could wrap it all up, like, what would be the best piece of advice you can give to founders running a business in this pretty turbulent time?
At the end of the day, you're going to have to be a profitable business, and so you at some point in your near future. So you need to get to the end of this. Will be anywhere from, I don't know, 3 weeks to 6 months to I think probably the calendar year. We're cooked until Christmas, I think, personally. So once again, analyze your runway, take a look at that. But at the end of the day, if you're not a profitable business, and this might emphasize how unprofitable you're probably going to be, and you might need to take a good hard look at what you're doing as well.
Yep. All right, Steve.
Bit of a somber one to finish on, isn't it?
It's a bit of a somber one, but look, I think everyone's sitting in the same boat right now, and there's challenges ahead, that's for sure. So there's no point, you know, putting your head in the sand during these times. It's like, take action, learn from people that have been through it before, and you know, move forward. You know, lead.
It's just literally, for as bad as it is, and as crazy as I've been there, I've been at the dark, really, you know, black dog, dark type stuff, right, where things go bad. But when you get through it, maybe the sun does wake up tomorrow morning. You know, it's and the nice thing right now, and we've got a lot of business in our portfolio, and a lot don't do well. Some don't do well. And so it's interesting now, we're talking to a couple of those founders who've done the last year or so a bit tough. And now they're relieved. Like, I've got friends everywhere. People are calling me, how did I deal with this and how did I deal with that? Because they're going through the same situation. So you're not Robinson Crusoe, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Look, Steve, thanks so much for your time.
Oh,
I hope there's some great takeaways there for everyone to sort of dig into. But thanks very much.
no, just you.
See you, mate.